The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Lining up, Adrian double, and here it comes. Connects.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The phrase "on cloud nine" often refers to being in a state of bliss, elation, or happiness. To many, wrestling as a medium of entertainment can often cause them to enter that state. Even in older ages, the medium provides a childlike joy. Whether it's the story of a feud, the promos between talents, or just the wrestling itself, many can find themselves getting lost in the art. Much like food, there are certain matches that one turns to in times of seeking comfort. Matches that are guaranteed to bring those emotions of comfort and elation anytime they are watched. Personally, I have many matches that cover a wide range. Comedic matches, full-blown sprints, matches that I believe could be used to demonstrate top-tier storytelling ability. All different in their own ways, whether it's the style of wrestling, the year it takes place, the promotion it occurs in, and most importantly, the length of the match. Some matches can be drawn out like a movie, using every minute to build to their conclusion. But many times in wrestling, you find gems that accomplish so much in so little time. With that being said, let me introduce you to one of my favorite Cloud9 matches. Now first, some context. In 2021, AEW announced a partnership with the Owen Hart Foundation to honor Owen Hart. For those who don't know, Owen Hart was an acclaimed wrestler active during the 80s and 90s. He would unfortunately pass away in a freak accident during a WWF pay-per-view. In December of 2000, Hart's wife Martha would establish the foundation, stating, "If I could help others in Owen's name, it would give meaning to his death. To me, that meant he did not die in vain." Some of the foundation's efforts include scholarships and handing out backpacks and supplies to neighborhoods. For the longest time, the WWE wanted to induct Hart into their Hall of Fame, but Martha refused. And truthfully, she had every right to. It was the company's negligence that led to her husband's untimely passing, and to her, the foundation was the best and right way to honor Hart's legacy. It is because of this that it was a surprise, but a welcome one, that AEW and Martha formed a partnership for Owen. In the fall of 2021, AEW owner Tony Khan would announce that there would be 2 tournaments held in honor of Hart, one for the men and one for the women. The matches would occur come springtime, and the finals would both happen at their annual Double or Nothing pay-per-view. And with that, we arrive at our match of focus. Today's subject takes place on AEW Rampage, episode 40, taking place on May 4th, 2022. Our match of focus is a qualifying match to enter the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. Our competitors are former AEW Women's World Champion Riho and Yuka Sakazaki, who at the time was one half of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling's tag champions. One of my favorite parts of wrestling is the presentation. Wrestlers need to present themselves in a manner that stands out, differentiates them from the rest of the pack, and this can be accomplished in many ways, both simple and extravagant or over the top. Riho, for example, is making her return to AEW after a couple months away, and she returns with a change in gear. Instead of her usual white and pink combination, Riho comes out in an all-black attire, to which the commentary team acknowledges, stating that it could be signaling a change in attitude upon her return. One thing to note is that you can still see subtle glimmers of pink in the gear. To me, the gear could have a double meaning. It could symbolize a change in attitude upon her return, and it could also be her way of paying tribute to the Hart family, as black and pink were signature colors of their gear. And on a side note here, I would just like to note, I personally believe it's the latter, seeing as the very next match, Riho would go right back to her usual attire. But we start off the match, and the two go back and forth with a series of lockups. The two women move smooth as butter, countering and escaping each other's offense. Riho gets a huge rise out of the crowd as she bridges out of Yuka's pinning attempt. Riho hits a big splash on Yuka for a close 2, and despite the two not showing up consistently on AEW and being foreign competitors, the two still have such a unique connection with the crowd. The crowd begins to chant for Riho, and they applaud regularly for her and Yuka's unique dueling offenses. And this is exemplified when Yuka hits a cannonball splash to the roar of the crowd. Riho escaping Yuka's leg lock gets a good pop from the crowd as well. Yuka attempts a magical splash, but Riho gets her knees up. She's slow to get up though, as her defense method comes at the expense of further hurting the knee that Yuka has been working over throughout the match. Riho attempts to hit a knee strike, but Yuka counters. The two go back and forth with reversals into pins before Riho hits a huge knee strike, but only for 2. As the two fight on the top turnbuckle, Yuka hits a huge faceplant off the top to Riho. Riho gets a close roll-up for 2 after some more offense. The two then square off in the middle, trading forearm strikes. As Yuka begins to gain the advantage, Riho slips under and rolls Yuka up for the win. Admittedly, this is a very simplistic match. Just 2 women going back and forth with a ton of good wrestling and a mini story of Riho's knee being a wild card in the second half. The fans have a good time watching and are torn between the two as they very much enjoy both competitors. And to me, that is what makes this match so great and the reason I classify it as a Cloud9 type match. It's something that I can put on at a moment's notice. It's enjoyable and easily digestible. One of the biggest things that the wrestling community gets wrong when it comes to exposing non-fans to wrestling is their match selection. Our matches like Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Utami versus Shuri, and Swerve in Our Glory versus The Acclaimed, great matches that could convince somebody to watch more wrestling? Yeah, most definitely. But you don't start with them right off the bat. Since they are new to wrestling, they aren't going to understand all the tropes and high points of a match. They aren't going to know how satisfying it is to see Dragunov finally submit Walter. How sad it is to see Zayn leave NXT. How much of a feel-good moment it is to see the Acclaimed win those championships to such a huge pop. And most importantly, when you're trying to change their opinion on the sport, you need something to catch them right off the bat. The 4 matches I listed are great, but they take time to build to their peak. As wrestling fans, we're more than willing to wait, you know? But a match like Riho versus Yuka has just enough to not only gain their attention, but leave them saying, that's all? And from there, you have them in the palm of your hand, ready to share the countless options. At the same time though, I advise the wrestling community to always just enjoy whatever matches you enjoy. Wrestling is here as a beautiful entertainment medium, an art form, and most importantly, an escape. I love this match because it reminds me of all the things I love about wrestling. Did I mention it's only about 9 minutes? Who would have thought Cloud9 is sometimes only 9 minutes away?